reflect those of the ownership, management, or advertisers of this station.
I'm simply saying that life finds a way. I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
All right, people, write something on the board. Let's spell it. First letter.
L O G.
What's that? What?
It's time. It's time to have real, honest, open, difficult, and inspiring conversations. It's time for Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Well, hello there, family. Hello and welcome. Welcome to Love and Life with yours truly, Carol Riddick, right here on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. So happy Thursday to you. Happy Thursday, September 28th to be exact. Oof. What can I say? We're knocking on October's door, but grateful to be doing so, right? How about that? Nick, my illustrious show producer, and I are always happy to have you join us, as you know, as you know. Hey, Libras, sending birthday love to you if you are celebrating a birthday. Family, listen, if you're on our socials, check in and let us know that you're out there. You know we love all the love that you share. You know that we do. To that point, all of my extra love and hugs goes to you today. If your light is shining even just a little bit dimly, do you hear me? On behalf of your tribe and your entire village, just know that you are not alone, okay? Just know that you're not alone. So, I know we have a lot to cover today, and I'm not going to take too much time doing housekeeping. But before we dig deep into today's topic, I want to address two things about which I read today. It saddens me deeply that we are in the midst of chaos. I'm talking about the looting that has been going on. The people you want to feel the pain from your anger are not the ones you're actually hurting. And it's a terrible shame. I also read that more than 1,000 children were reported missing in Ohio this year, with more than 45 in the Cleveland, Akron area this month alone. I don't know what's happening, but God help us. God help us. All right, family, let's dig in. Let's dig in. Today is Thursday, and you know on Thursdays what we do. Thursdays are Thursdays with Dr. Z. And you know I love that. I love that. So today is no different. Dr. Z is Dr. Zenida Driver, who is the executive director for Sunrise Community of Pennsylvania. She's a lifelong student of human behavior and social interaction with over 15 years of experience as an accomplished trainer, professional speaker, and supervisor in the field of human services. And guess what? She's brought a friend with her. Yes, she has. And his name is Robertto Rickards. He is a national organizer for Black Men Build. He's also a part of the Malcolm X grassroots movement, and he's involved in multiple community organizations nationwide. I was trying to say a multitude of and multiple at the same time. You hear me? You hear me? I was just trying to say. But you know what I meant, and it's all the truth. So, so family, I invite you to the conversation with both Dr. Z and Roberto Rickards. Well, hello there, family. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello. How are
It's-
you?
I will not complain. So happy to have you both join us. Roberto, I think you are still muted. You don't want to talk to us? You don't want to talk to us, Roberto?
No, I was trying to make sure I wasn't being heard when I wasn't supposed to be.
Oh, well, we appreciate that. But we always understand all those technical difficulties. That's what we call it, technical. We just chalk it up to technical difficulties here. So, family, all right, we started a conversation last week. I know you will remember, and some of you have reminded me, that you could not wait to resume this conversation on Thursday. Prince, you better be out there waiting. Okay, you better be out there ready because Prince start. Do you remember Dr. Z? Prince
I
started this
remember.
conversation.
Prince, where are you, Prince?
He started this conversation. Before we dig in, though, I want to share that Brother Malcolm White, is watching and listening from West Mount Airy. Good evening to you. And so is Brother Nasir Butler, that is. And he's sharing peace and blessings with everybody.
Peace,
So, fellas,
peace.
I know Malcolm and Nasir, I know you are ready. Last week, Prince stirred up all kinds of strife, hate, and discontent. But he started a conversation. No, I'm just teasing. My grandmother used to say that. But he started a conversation where he said, and you all, I know you will, but correct me if I'm wrong, because I may not remember verbatim. But what he said was that he and his friends, when they get together, they talk like men do. But he said a certain number of them make less money than their women, and they consider them henpecked. And that was the term that he used. He and his friends that make more money than their women, they consider the friends that make less than their women and that answer to their women henpecked. And he said that, I basically just tell my woman, look, when I get home, I get home. When I get there, I get there. Basically. Did I, was that pretty much it, Dr. Z?
That was it. That was it.
Oh,
That's what he
and
said.
I just have a question. And he said he tells his woman when he gets home, he gets there. Is that direct correlation because he makes more money than her?
Well, Dr. Z helped me because he was making the statement right after he did say, that he and his friends consider he and his friends who make more money than their women consider their friends who don't make more money than their women henpecked. So he was making. So we believe it to be in direct correlation. But Prince, listen, now I'm calling on you because you started this conversation. But but after talking about everything, Dr. Z and I said, okay, so we need some testosterone in here so we can even the scale. We can even the scale. And listen, I am not discounting you, Brother Nasir or Brother Malcolm, because I know you are going to contribute to this conversation. I know you are. I just know you are. But to that point, let's talk about it. Let's talk about gender roles. Let's talk about, the expectations of a man and of a woman in a relationship. Let's talk about what that looks like. So I'm posing this question to you, family. I'm posing this to each and every one of you to join the conversation. Tell us, what does it look like to you? If you are a man and you make more than your lady, does that make you more of a man? Do you feel like that makes you the household, the head of the household, or more of a man? Or if you make less than her, do you feel like you're less of a man because of it? Or would it make you feel less of a man? I'm sorry. Let me make sure I pose that correctly. Would it make you feel like you're less of a man to make more money than her? And I want to know. We want to know because we're talking about this tonight. Okay? We're talking about it all. And he also, because Prince, listen, Roberto, you missed a lot last week. He
I
started a lot.
see. I see.
He also said, that he was talking about being in a relationship with someone and being able to identify their level of crazy. He said, how do you know? How do you know when you're seeing someone that this person is? How do you know if they're crazy or not? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, we all had a few things to say about that, but he did ask that question. How do you know if you're seeing someone? Like, at what level do you say, okay, yeah, you're crazy? Like, at what at what level of the relationship? So he was posing the question to me. He said, if you were my sister and and you saw this woman that you knew I was dating and you thought she was crazy, would you tell me? Yes, I would if I thought she was, but I'm asking you again, family. So listen, we're opening up the phone lines so that you can call us. And you can do that by dialing 215-634-8065. You can also call us toll free at 1-866-361-0900. So, okay, I'm posing the question to you, Brother Malcolm, and to Brother Nasir. I'm asking you, if your lady makes more money than you, if she were to make more money than you, would you feel less of a man? Would you feel like you would have less of a say in your relationship? Would you feel like you'd have to answer to her? I'm curious to know. And not just Brother Malcolm and Brother Nasir. Y'all know, family members, y'all know what we do here on Love and Life is we talk. We talk about everything. We talk about each and everything, you know. So let's get into it. Y'all told me y'all were waiting to have this conversation. So
That's what they
let
said. That's what they
didn't
said.
they? They did. That's what they said. They said they were waiting to have this conversation. So we are here to have it, and we're waiting on you to continue because we have formulated opinions. I know I do. I know I do. Let me ask you, Roberto. So, Brother Prince shared last week. He said basically, look, I make more money, so that means I do as I please. That means, I come and go. If my lady calls me and I'm out with the fellas, then I say to her, I'll be home when I get home. Do you happen to agree with that point of view?
Well, first, let me just say that I think that's reflective of when two people form a relationship. What is the constitution of that relationship? Is it about money? Are they reliant on one another for finances? So is finances a big part of the dynamic? And so if it's a big part of the dynamic of the relationship, then I think that would play a part in how I guess it functions, right? So I pay the bills, so you have less say so in what I do. You pay my bills, so I respect the fact to give you more more leverage or more freedoms that maybe I wouldn't if I was more financially able to contribute. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one dynamic of relationship. There are many dynamics of relationships where finances don't play a big role in the constitution. So,
Mm-hmm.
if for instance, if both individuals make around the same amount or they contribute equally, then maybe that's not a big deal. Or
Mm-hmm.
or or maybe somebody makes more money. The woman per se makes more money, but you know, the man still contributes more to the household or more to the bills. So I just kind of wanted to just put that out there as far as like, I think in certain relationships, finances play more of a role or is built into the constitution of that relationship. And other relationships, finances are not as a big piece of the relationship because it's either 50-50 or somewhere around the same.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's kind of like my first, I guess, clarification that I kind of want to contribute.
Okay, I appreciate that. I'm going to come back to you though, Roberto, because I'm going to ask you specifically another specific question.
Okay.
But before I do that, I want to go to our socials and then to our phone lines. Hi there, Miss Joanne. Hi, beautiful. She shares your job should not define you. So, what happens when you lose that job? What status do you have
Mm-hmm.
then? I'll get home when I get home shows no respect for either one of you. You
Mm-hmm.
don't respect her, and she doesn't respect herself. I received that. I received
Mm.
that. Chris is joining us. Hi there, Chris. Christopher Manigault shares the relationship should be built on the foundation of love and trust, not finances. I
Mm.
received that too. Thank you so
Mm.
much, Chris. I'm going to go to our phone lines. We have Ron on line one. Ron, thank you so much for calling.
Hi, Cal.
Hi,
Hi,
Ron.
Dr. D. And hi,
Hi.
Roberto. Dr. Z, I'm going to be getting in touch with you pretty soon. There's something I want you to do for me, and I'll pay for that service. Your temperament is so beautiful. I didn't know that your resume read like Cal read it. And I'll be getting in touch with you somewhere. I want something I want you to do for me, and I'll pay for your service. I don't look for it for nothing. Roberto, I want to say to you, sir, the connection that you have with Malcolm X, you know his lawyer, Percy Sutton, owned WUHAT back in the day. Are you familiar with that?
No,
Percy
sir.
Sutton lawyer. Percy Sutton lawyer played a very significant part here in Philadelphia in his business endeavor with Murray Mason or Cody and all them. So you come out of good surroundings, sir. And thank you for the work that you do. As
Thank
far as
you, sir.
myself is concerned, yes, sir. As far as myself is concerned, the money I make for the person, my partner, my friend, will go to make her health, if money can buy some of that, but to make her life very precious. Oh, that is so important. And we know that we need money for things, but there are some things money can't buy. And the purpose in life, and I say in a relationship, and I'm not so melodramatic that I don't realize the other things that take place in a relationship. So I'm enjoying this. And Dr. Z, I'll be speaking with you is something that essential that I want you to do for me. And when I share that once again, ma'am, it's even going to make you blush or cry for what I want you to do. I'm letting you listen that all the lovers going to call in tonight. And remember this when it comes to the ladies. Oh, beloved, the most wonderful gift that you can receive from there, to hear them breathe when you embrace them. And I'm not talking about any sexual action like that. What a wonderful gift. And you can do that because she is precious. And I'm not putting the men down. Women does great things. And the reason I say that, Dr. Z, anytime that the Almighty God have made her to be the vessel to bring us into this world, to hold life in that body, because when we come into the world, that woman baptized you before we come into this world down through the years in that water bus. That is the baptism. And then the tears that you can make her share. Tears of joy, not tears of sadness. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to getting in touch with you, Dr. Z. And call in here, guys. I want to hear what's on your mind tonight. Cal is waiting for you. Thank you, Prince. Come on, I knew your parents and everything. Call in and thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you so much, family. Listen, if you have just joined us, you are tuned in to Love and Life with yours truly, Carol Riddick, right here on WURD. You know what day it is. It's Thursday. So that means it's Thursdays with Dr. Z. And tonight she's brought a friend. She's brought a friend. Robertto Rickards is joining us because a conversation was started last week by Prince. You heard Ron. Prince. Don't you leave us hanging. Prince, you started this conversation last week, and we're here to continue it this week. Our family members are waiting and are still joining the conversation. Some are coming into the room. Miss Lily, hi there. She's sending love to everybody. Naya Bell is joining us as well. Hello. She's sending a good evening to everyone. And so is Sierra Pace. So family, for those of you who missed the question that was posed, I had asked how you feel about being in a relationship when your significant other makes less money than you. And I'm going to widen this net. I'm going to open this up to the ladies as well, because I was specific earlier by asking the men, but I want to widen the net and ask the women too. How would you feel if your significant other, or how do you feel if he does now, if he makes less money than you? Is that as big a factor for you or to you? In what way does it contribute to your relationship? Positively, negatively, indifferent? I want to know. We want to know, because we're here to break it all down. We're here to talk about all of that. All of that. But what we're going to do in a moment is take a short commercial break. But I want you to know that the phone lines are open for those of you who prefer to call. And you can do that by dialing 215-634 8065. You can even call us toll free at 1-866-361-0900. And you could even continue to comment on our socials because we receive that as well. Family, stay with us, whatever you do, because we'll be right back.
Words of empowerment.
Sophia Warren Moore. I'm a fourth generation editor and publisher of Positive Black News. The Black press is the voice of Black America. It's so important for us to have our own voices spoken from our own perspective and our own narratives. So that's really important for us to be able to have our own messages. I support WURD, their 20th anniversary. Absolutely. I think it takes a village. I think that's the biggest and best thing that I learned from our community, because it takes a community. And that's also for individuals, businesses, everything that you do. It takes a village. No one can do anything alone but God.
This is Words of Joy and Empowerment on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. Audio provided by Love Now Media. These Words of Joy and Empowerment are brought to you by Keystone First and United Healthcare.
Pennsylvanians are creating their own soundtrack. Thanks to PA Lottery Scratch-Offs, excitement's back. Pennies, nickels, dimes, or quarters, no matter your choice, scratching's always in order. With big top prizes and second chance drawings, thrills await. They're out there calling. If it's excitement you seek and you're looking for action, play the PA Lottery. And keep on scratching. Must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day.
Tune in this Saturday from 5 to 6 p.m. for the Islam Today show, with a perspective on moral guidance and Islamic principles and values.
All of us have a role to play in promoting a mental health friendly workplace.
So what can I do to help?
As a CEO, I can set the tone for a supportive culture.
As a manager, I can offer assistance and accommodations.
As a coworker, I can be a source of support.
As someone with a mental health condition, I can ask for what I need to perform my best.
What can I do?
What can I do?
I can remind others that none of us are alone.
And that we all benefit from workplaces that promote good mental health.
Learn more at whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
Why is WURD important to the community?
It's important that there's someone from the community that's authentically talking about the problems and all the steps that need to be taken to get to a better place.
And it gives them a platform and an opportunity to share their expertise and love of the culture.
And it's critically important that people have an opportunity to speak, and it's even more important that people have an opportunity to be heard.
WURD is the community and of the community.
WURD serves as the voice for the community.
It gives a sense of connectedness among people who aren't necessarily in front of each other physically, but they feel and connect with each other over the air.
I'm so glad they're coming to Mantua.
It's in the name. WURD is the word. WURD gets the word out to the community. WURD connects the community. WURD empowers the community. WURD embraces the community.
We are 20 years strong, giving voice to the community, and without the community, there will be no WURD. We are one and the same, and it is not a game. WURD.
This is your celebration.
Want to say thank you, WURD, for being a place where we can come and share ideas, talk about the things that are happening in our neighborhood. And as always, for 20 years, WURD have been there. So I want to say much love, much respect, and let's do 20 plus 20 more.
Happy 20th anniversary to WURD, Philly's finest. Hi, my name is Waltrina Blake. I want to say happy 20th anniversary, WURD.
Hi, I'm Gary with the Kimmel Center. Just want to say happy 20th anniversary, WURD.
My name is Takeem from Southwest Philly. I want to say we're 20th anniversary of WURD. What up?
We're celebrating 20 years of progressive Black Talk Media. You're listening to Love and Life with Carol Riddick on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Well, hello there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life with yours truly, Carol Riddick, right here on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. So it's Thursday. It's Thursdays with Dr. Z. And tonight we are continuing the conversation from last week. We're talking about gender roles. We're talking about how important they are to you, what responsibilities you feel you both should have. And I'm going to go back to our socials for a moment before we continue. Malcolm shares, I've commented on this before. You sure did. He did last week. He shared, I've dated women that either made the same as me or less, and it was no big deal. I remember another woman that may have made more than me, and I still paid the bill when we went out. So, Malcolm, I ask you, just the bill when you went out to eat, or did you pay any bills at the residence as well, or for anything else? I'm just curious to know. I don't want to get all in your business, but just curious to know, how important a role finances played. Shade Christian is joining us. Hi there. Sending a good evening to everyone. Kaya Harvey is as well and is sharing, I feel indifferently. My significant other feels the man is supposed to be the provider, but to me, I feel as though it's just his masculinity being tested, because whether or not I'm making more or he's making more, equally, we are coming together. To me, I don't feel like it should matter if we both contribute financially anyway. Ah, Nigel Dennis. Okay. I like that. All right. Jason Todd is joining us as well and is sharing a good evening. And Drina. Hey there, Drina. She's sharing, I'm watching from the sweetest sides of Detroit, Michigan in the USA. Nice, Drina.
Sweet.
Nice. Okay. Nice. Very nice. So, family, we've begun a conversation here and we're talking about how important finances are. We were talking about so many more things last week because Prince had us going, but we've started. We've started as it pertains to finances. How important are finances to you in your relationship, and at what point do you discuss it? I know, Dr. Z, you said last week it's so important to have those conversations. So family, at what point? At what point? Those of you who are in relationships, currently in relationships, at what point did you have those conversations, or have you had that conversation yet? And for those of us who are not, I can't even speak on it because I'm not in one right now. But but it is. I do agree that it is important to have that conversation. But when is the right time to talk about that?
And so, if I jump in, Carol, I always
Please.
believe, right, that those conversations, we need to have them as soon as we realize that this is someone that we may desire to spend our life with or make our person within our life. We avoid those hard conversations, and then as we talked about somewhat last week, those hard conversations come out later, and we're like, I don't like the way this person handles finances. I don't like the way this person handles intimacy. So up front, the things that are important for us, we have to talk about. And so that is why I always say we have to have those hot button topics. What are the things that I need to have clarity on before we move forward in this relationship? Because expecting someone to change potentially how they are, ideally we would want that, but change is hard. So just imagine that they're not going to wake up and just start handling finances the way you may want them to handle it. So those conversations are necessary sooner than later. As soon as I say that, this may be my person, and this may be somebody I desire to spend ample amount of time with.
So you're saying, Dr. Z, as soon as you identify that, okay, I might like you a little bit, a
Yeah,
little.
you don't want to ask you on the first date, hey, how do you handle finances? Hey, they be looking at you like you're crazy. But once, I'm like, okay, enough. I'm liking you. The energy is good. We may be going to another place with this. We may need to have that conversation before we allow ourselves to fully fall into a relationship where we may not be equal in how we see the world, integral parts of the world. But again, as the people on the social are saying, and Roberto alluded to, what's important to me may not be important to someone else. And so I need to make sure that we have some understanding around what's important for both of us as early as possible.
Roberto, I was
Yeah.
saying that I was going to bring it back to you and ask you a more personal question. We were talking about this last week, so I'm bringing you into the fold. How important is it to you personally, the finances of a woman with whom you're in a relationship?
Um, I I think, and it's funny. I just read Jason Todd's comment, and that's kind of where I was
Mhm.
going too, which he says both parties should be able to, as adults, right? We should be able to provide for ourselves. We should be able to handle our own lives before we're trying to engage someone else,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? If we're in survival mode or just trying to make it on our own, mentally, physically, spiritually, then you may not be right for a relationship. So if two people are engaging in a relationship, it should not be based on the need, because then I feel like that limits the relationship on how it can grow. Because I need you, so
Mhm.
I may not speak my truth. I may allow you to disrespect me or do these other things because I rely on you for finances. So I feel like that really can stunt the growth of a relationship if people are engaging with one another on base of need. But for me, to answer your question directly,
Mhm.
uh, I feel like my partner's financial acumen is more important than how much money she makes, because
Mhm.
right, we have, there's someone who makes six figures but still lives check to check because their financial acumen
Mhm.
is not well, and there's someone who makes far less than many others, but budgets well, saves well, and always can move freely because
Mhm.
they live within their means, or they live below their means. So to me, that financial acumen of a woman or my partner is much more important than how much she makes. So I would answer
I
it that
appreciate
way.
that. Thank you. I appreciate that. I so appreciate that. Shade Christian is responding. I honestly feel that it doesn't matter who makes more. If I make more than my significant other, I'm perfectly okay with that as long as he's able to take care of household responsibilities and is also able to carry on his manly responsibilities. And to go back to Jason, I don't think I did not read that aloud. Jason Todd, hi there, and thank you for joining the conversation. He shares that both parties should be able to provide for themselves before entering a fully committed relationship. Harold is joining the conversation too. Hi there. Harold Spriddle is sharing only a chauvinist would tell his woman, I'll be home when I get home. And only a woman with low self esteem would tolerate such foolishness. Foolishness it is. Y'all heard, I had to apologize to y'all last week because I almost lost myself. I said, what? And Malcolm is sharing. Like I might have said before, my last relationship lasted 11 years before she passed away suddenly. My condolences again. I
Condolences.
made more than her, and our jobs did not measure our worth. Even when I lost a job and was on my grind to get myself together, she was supportive. And no, I didn't pay anybody's bills. Laugh out loud. You know what, Malcolm? You know what? Oh my goodness. I so appreciate the contributions that you all are making to this conversation because last week, Dr. Z, weren't we? Listen, we both looked at each other.
We couldn't even take all of the calls and the comments. It was a lot. We needed backup, Carol.
We did. We so did. So we said, okay, we're bringing this back. Dr. Z said, okay, so I know what we're talking about next week. Like, yeah, we absolutely do. We absolutely do. But it's important. It is so important. We hear oftentimes that couples have their largest disagreement over finances. We hear that so often. And so it's obvious that somebody's not talking, and especially not about finances. So when he said that last week, when Prince said that last week, he set us all off. Like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. But I appreciate what you said, Dr. Z. When you identify that this individual that you're seeing means a little something to you, then then it just might be time to introduce that conversation to start talking about finance. Well, once you've identified that individual, but then what you're feeling is reciprocated, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Pastor Daniel Black is joining us. Well, hello, Pastor. Yes, he is pastor of Gospel Temple Baptist Church right there in South Philly. He's sending a good evening to everybody, and we receive it. Thank you so much. And Kaya is sharing in the beginning because I'd been in so many relationships where I was the provider. So now I have to let people know ahead of time, look, I'm the type that gives, but I'm not going to give and not receive. Now in my relationship, now it was very difficult because he could not understand my independence, and I could not understand how he was brought up either with wanting to be the provider. So as Dr. Z said up front, we did have to have that conversation, and it was negative at first. Ah, interesting. So, Kaya, to your point, at what point in the relationship did you two have the conversation? Since and you know what, I can understand that we're all raised differently. We all have different values. So many things come into play, and we've all had so many different life experiences that shape, our opinions, our thoughts, and our circumstances. So I'm curious to know, Kaya, and thank you for your transparency. Let me say that first. But I'm curious to know, at what point did you two decide to have that conversation? I'm listening, as I read what you shared, you know you both were trying to understand each other's opinions, period, as it pertained to finances. So I can understand how it would be a little rough to even broach the subject or share. Pastor Daniel Black, you know what, I'm going to beat you with the wet noodle. He shares, my wife makes more than I do, and I am very happy. I know that's right. Mr. Murgatroyd, you know what?
That's
Well,
my buddy.
I love it. I love it. He said, my wife makes more than I do, and I am very happy. I understand. I overstand that. So once you decide, were you about to say something, Roberto?
I was just going to say it really points back to like what your values are, as Z was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, for instance, I grew up in a household with a single mother, and so I watched my mom grind and go hard and work 2 jobs and making it happen all the time. So I didn't realize this until I got older, but in my 20s, I thought, like me being in a traditional sense where I'm being a provider didn't make sense to me, because I'm like, I saw my mom grind. Like, why aren't you grinding? Like, we both should be going hard. So to a woman who may have been raised in a traditional household with her father providing and looking at that as the norm, that wouldn't register to me, because I'm like, so I think it's really about kind of what you just said, of what type of household you grew up in, and what the norms were, and then that, does that register with you, right? So for me, I had to grow out of a conditioning of being brought up by a single mother, and expecting and it being normalized that watching women work just as hard as I did, that that's not how everybody was brought up.
Right. That
I
makes
think
sense.
that's a great point. I think we kind of talked about that a little bit last week, and to connect with Kaya's point, which, let me just say, I have to shout out my Lincoln students here that are on fire with their comments. Shout out to you all. But to go to Roberto's point and somewhat to Kaya's point, that at the end of the day, it's really about, or Nigel's point, sorry, it's really about upbringing too, because a lot of how we see the world and relationships is shaped by what we saw in our childhood. Either we saw it and we do our best to mimic it, or we saw it and we don't like it, so we do the opposite of it. And so, remember, we talked a little bit last week around, I want to pay attention to family dynamics. I want to see What does the upbringing look like? It doesn't mean
Right.
that that's who the person will be in my relationship with him, but it does give me some valuable information that I can use to kind of understand better why my partner or my partner to be sees the world the way they see the world, or things within the world the way they see it. And so everything is data for us to pay attention to. But as we were saying to Prince last week, a lot of times we miss the mark. We don't want
Mm-hmm.
to pay attention because we're so excited about the honeymoon phase of the new dating and going out and getting cute and doing all the things that we're missing that, okay, does he have enough money to pay this bill at Steak 48 when we really should be at Fridays, right? That overextending himself just to appease me in this moment. That is valuable information that tells me a lot about our future.
Oh, I receive all of that. Family, listen, it's time for us to take another break, but know that the phone lines are open and feel free to continue to comment on our socials. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
The job search can be a difficult and frustrating process. WURD's Livelihood Initiative was designed to help you find the right opportunity for your next professional move. Check out the recent openings posted on the Livelihood Job Board at wordworks.com. The Wagner Institute of Science is hiring a science outreach educator. The Bicycle Coalition of Greater Philadelphia is hiring both a director of finance and operations and an executive director. For more information on these jobs and others, go to wordworks.com and learn more about the Livelihood Initiative. Brought to you by WURD Radio, Progressive Black Talk Media. Prepare to party this weekend for a celebration of hip hop and the arts in Philadelphia. Join WURD Radio and Mural Arts at Love Park on Saturday, September 30th from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. for Mural Arts Fest for the love of hip hop. We're celebrating 50 years of hip hop alongside an all-star lineup of local performers and DJs, live conversations on the WURD Radio podcast stage, live mural making, a vendor marketplace, photo booths, art activities, and more. You can also stop by the WURD Radio table and join or renew your 4WURD membership. Don't let this free, family-friendly festival pass you by. It's the perfect way to celebrate hip-hop, 25 years of Mural Arts Philadelphia, 20 years of WURD Radio, and the fantastic communities we all serve. Join us at Love Park this Saturday from noon until 3.
Who are the region's leader in supplier diversity and economic development? Join WBEC East on Wednesday, October 10th at their Dessert and More and annual award celebration. Network with women business owners and entrepreneurs and the supplier diversity professionals making a difference in the tri-state area. Enjoy a full buffet of desserts from women-owned bakeries and celebrate the sweet success of women business owners. Wednesday evening, October 10th. Register online at www.wbeceast.com or call 215-790-9232.
Here's what you missed on Wake Up with WURD.
Joining us now, Interim Police Commissioner John Stanford. So last night, the charges against that police officer were dropped, even though we all saw what happened on video. Then we see another video of people looting and people kind of encouraging people to loot. You and others are saying we need to throw the book at these people. What's the difference between what happened with that police officer and then these other people whose crimes were on video and you and others saying that the book should be thrown at them?
So I'm limited as to how much I can talk about with that particular case. What I will say is that there are components of the criminal justice system that we don't control, meaning we as police. There are other components, whether it's the component of the prosecutor side of it, whether it's the component of the courtroom side of it, that's not controlled by police. And often it's only, the eyes are only on the police department. And the police department, quite frankly, doesn't have control over what we saw happen the other day as it relates to that courtroom.
Tune in to Wake Up with WURD with Solomon Jones every Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on WURD. Progressive Black Talk Media.
What is love?
You're listening to Love and Life on WURD. Progressive Black Talk Media.
I think I know what love is.
Well, hello there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life with yours truly, Carol Riddick, right here on WURD. Family, I want to remind you that it is officially fall, and that means it's fall festival season. Join Word Radio this Saturday, September 30th at Love Park from noon until 3 p.m. as we partner with Mural Arts Philadelphia for their annual fall festival and celebration of hip hop music and culture. Enjoy live musical performances and mural making, face painting, food trucks, and even free donuts. This event will be hosted by Eco Word Magazine's POC, and we'll have great conversations from the Word Radio podcast stage. So, meet us this Saturday, September 30th at the Mural Arts Fest, or tune in to a special broadcast beginning at 1 p.m. So, for you, those of you who are just joining the conversation or just joining us, period, it is Thursday. On Thursdays, we have Thursdays with Dr. Z, and she's brought a friend with her, Roberto Rickards. And we are continuing the conversation from last week. And you know what? Nick and I, we had just a short little conversation during the break. And I said, you know what? Let's even the playing field because we've got two females. I'm going to invite Nick to join the conversation. Nick, who is our show's producer. Nick, what are your thoughts on the topics we've been discussing tonight?
Hey, Carol, I just want to say, and hey, guest Dr. Z and Roberto, I think you both have been making really interesting points. And while I've had something to say, I haven't been able to quite figure out what I wanted to say. I'll just say that I'm 25 and I'm single at the moment. And so I feel like I'm around a lot of people who kind of have to deal with this very often. And so while we make the point that it really doesn't matter who makes the most amount of money in a relationship, I would argue that from my perspective, from what I see from other people who are 25 years old and in that age group, I feel like on one hand, you're right, that really doesn't matter. But I know as a young man and how I was brought up, I was raised by my single mother, as well as my father. But I've it's always been ingrained in my head that I'm supposed to take care of a woman. And while there's nothing wrong with that, and that's a traditional way of looking at it, of course, I think that people like myself are still kind of set in their ways, and they go, "Well, I'm not going to have some woman take care of me or this and that and that." So, while I'm not as negative about it, at the same time, if I know that my woman is making more money than me, then at a certain point, that is eating away at me. Whether that's insecurity or not, I can't quite say. Some people have different perspectives on it, though you can blanket it and just say it's insecurity. I would say that just something in me, I feel like that's an argument that we're going to have later down the line. And so, but the reality is, from what I've seen, I do have a lot of female friends, and a lot of them are successful and they have high paying careers and actual careers versus a lot of my guy friends who have jobs. And so the women that I'm around, they're working towards bettering themselves in their careers, and they tend to end up with guys who are they're still trying to going through the motions, So
That's a great point. Oh, great point.
It really, really, seriously. I mean, it's got me over here. Thank you for that. Thank you so much. And Nick, don't be afraid to jump in because we're, this is an open conversation as always. As always, I do want to take a moment to go to our socials and share some of the comments that are coming in. Sierra Pace shares. That's such a good point. I think this is a conversation that needs to happen during the dating stage. And Jason Todd shares, me personally, I date the female me. I grind, so I'm going to date a female that grinds also. Okay. All right. Okay. And Kaya shares in response to the question I asked. I believe after a year of him feeling like I was doing too much, which, like I said, I didn't think so because I come from a mother who was the provider of 5 kids. So all I know is to provide. And that was his whole thing. now it's time to let me provide. And I guess after we had that, I just had to allow myself to not be so dominant all the time. Naja, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Um, Lanier Lewis is sharing, caring and providing for a woman, that's more than just money.
Mm-hmm.
I happen to agree wholeheartedly with you. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to ask both you, Dr. Z, and Roberto, how would you both suggest broaching the conversation of finances? How do you begin that conversation?
Roberto, you want to go first?
I'll go first, but I want to add something too, right? Because
Okay.
statistics, like women are out earning men. Black women are
Mhm.
out earning black men, right? Like the rates of degrees and graduate degrees of black women and being earners are surpassing black men. So it's more black women in the world than it is black men. So I think naturally the trajectory is showing that um, with men being less of the population than women, and then women moving to being higher earners, this is going to be a conversation that is relevant for most people at some point,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
right? If you're an adult and you're looking for a partner, whether you're a man or a woman, this is something that more than likely you're going to have to broach at some point.
Mhm.
And so I think it needs to be looked at from all these different angles that we're discussing, and in a mature way. I like the point that Nick had made, right? Like he had a level of self-awareness to say, like, is this like my insecurity? Is this a belief I have? Is this conditioning? Like, why do we feel the way we feel about this, right? Is this
Mhm.
something that a trauma or something I've seen with my dad? My mom always said, for instance, my mother always said, always keep some money in your pocket, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Mine too.
So I can't even go to the gym, right? Without some 20s
Some
in my pocket, right? So where are your internal messaging coming from? I think that's something
mm,
we have to examine, because that affects when we have these conversations with our partner. And to your question, when do we have, or how do we navigate that conversation?
mhm.
Um, and I don't think it has to be some serious, get out a paper and pen. Let's sit at the dining room table, all right, here, number one, you know what I mean? Like, I
Right,
think
right,
it,
right.
I think it can be fun and casual, the same way we're talking about what movies we like, the same way we're
Okay.
talking about, I hate horrors. Oh, you like horrors? All right, we want to compromise on that, right? I
Mhm.
think the same way is like, what are your beliefs? Personally, me and my partner, we had a conversation early on. It was kind of like, so do you think it should go 50-50 with bills? Like, if and when we move in together, do you believe that, like, what is your thoughts on these things? And we had these conversations where, well, this is what I believe. Okay, this is what I believe. Okay, how does that work so that we're in sync, so that we
Mm,
both respect and value each other's opinion, and no one feels like they're getting pressed upon by the other. Um,
mhm.
so I guess what I'm adding to the conversation is that I think it should be in casual conversation. And if there is disagreements, if there is some discord, then maybe, okay, then we might need to examine this further. Okay, let's kind of backtrack and really kind of dig in deeper with this in a way that we both can appreciate.
Mm,
And if I can add to that, I think Roberto is saying is a lot of times financial conversations oftentimes lead to insecurities. It can
mhm.
happen. It's one of those, again, hard, hot topic conversations. And so the best way to go into it and to approach it is to ask questions. What are your financial goals, right? Over the next 3 to 5
Mm,
years? Talk about your
mm.
retirement plan, talk about home ownership, talk about investments, IRA accounts, because you'll learn a lot about a person, especially the conversation about homes, buying a home. You're going to learn, well, are they in a position to buy a home? Is their credit not okay? They may say, I want to buy a home, but I can't. As soon as I hear I can't, my natural instinct is say, well, what's keeping you from being able to purchase a home? That dialogue, those open-ended questions will now foster a meaningful conversation that you can have with your partner. I don't think it's as simple as, well, how much do you make? Well, how much do you make? Because that can be uncomfortable. So let me find, maybe if I can say an indirect way to bring the conversation in. It's not indirect because it's still direct, but not necessarily just coming out and say, tell me what your salary is for the year. What does your W-2 say for you? Like that, most people are not, they're not going to feel comfortable with that initially up front. But I will learn a lot by asking you about your financial goals.
All right. On that note, family, it's time for us to take just a short break. So stay with us because we'll be right back.
It's the WURD Hot 60. Hot 60. Here's the hottest 60 seconds you missed this week on Evening Words.
So what did you like about going to school, Brother Ken? Because there was a time when we liked going to school. What did you like?
I liked going to school because quietly as it kept, I ended up being able to do a whole lot of things. My house was my mom and them. They had more books in the house than we had anybody. You know, we had roaches and stuff. You know, I mean, it was everywhere. So.
Yeah, I remember roaches back in the day. They would go to school with you. They was getting an education too.
Travel right inside of your books, man. Sure, Blake.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wow. So, hey, but going to school at Claghorn, it was quite an interesting operation. I was, I think, second best by the time I got to fifth grade. I was second best reader in my class.
And that's your hottest 60 seconds this week from Evening Words on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Meet Amanda. She loves to start her day by heading to her favorite coffee shop.
Morning, Amanda. Black coffee, no sugar.
Then, she usually takes the long way to share a little treat with Coco, Mrs. Lopez's little terrier. And when Amanda arrives to open the Keystone First Wellness and Opportunity Center, Mr. Freeman is always there.
You always on time, Amanda.
Always on time, Mr. Freeman.
Amanda has been a community health educator at Keystone First for over 15 years. She knows this community as well as the community knows her. As a local health plan, we don't only take care of members. For over 35 years, we have known them as neighbors, friends, and family. As Southeastern Pennsylvania's largest medical assistance managed care health plan, our roots run deep. Visit KeystoneFirstPA.com to learn how we can help you get care and stay well.
Do you need reliable internet for school, work, or other necessities? The federal government's Affordable Connectivity Program, ACP, provides up to $30 off internet bills. Families getting no-cost internet service through PHL Connected must take action to transfer their service to ACP as soon as possible to avoid getting bills. Philadelphia residents can visit getacp.org/PHL or dial 211 for more information and help signing up.
What are you waiting for? If you've been enjoying the information and interviews WURD provides every day, or come out to our community events, it might be time to become a member. This year marks the 20th anniversary of WURD, and there's no better time to join the forward movement. Sign up or renew your sustaining membership at just $90, or your digital membership for just $5 a month. Join online at wordradio.com/membership, or pick up the phone and give us a call at 215-425-7875. Press 4 for assistance. The time to join is now.
What am I waiting for?
Celebrating 20 years of progressive Black Talk Media. This is WURD, 900 AM and 96.1 FM, Philadelphia. Streaming online at wordradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Let me tell you something, and don't you ever forget it. Success is nothing without someone you love to share it with.
You're listening to Love and Life with Carol Riddick on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Well, hello there, family. Welcome back. Welcome to the top of the second hour of Love and Life with yours truly, Carol Riddick, right here on WURD. So, we're talking about a lot. Okay, we're talking about a lot. We began with a continuation of last week's conversation, and we're widening the net this week, aren't we, Dr. Z? I would say that we are. And so, some of our family members are commenting on our socials. Annette Ford shares, whew, that compromise is hard. She says, hey, besties. So, and Setonius Quinn writes, I so agree with Dr. Driver. Lanier Lewis shares, those conversations require a lot of vulnerability and honesty. And but Net, you're getting some love there, Net. Setonius Quinn also shares, that's the hard part because some men have issues with vulnerability. Yeah, I know a lot of men that have issues with vulnerability. Um, Kaya is sharing, Lanier Lewis, I absolutely agree with you. And trust, because if you don't trust a person, also, you won't feel comfortable. And yes, Setonius Quinn, they do. That's that masculinity thing that they feel inside. Like it's not masculine to feel vulnerable or show another side, except for being tough. And yeah, I wish I understood that. I wish I understood that. Trying to navigate that is so difficult when you're trying to be vulnerable, open, and honest yourself, but you're trying to navigate your significant other or your partner, your man who's fighting that because he wants to demonstrate being tough to you. So that's difficult. I actually know there's a guy that I know that says he won't date a woman with a credit score under 700. Like, I don't know how you know that at hello, but but I mean, and you know what? I want to ask you a question, Jason. Jason, you shared with us that you don't date females that are not on their grind. So how do you when you see this woman and you say to yourself, well, you know what, she's beautiful. I want to get to know her better. You don't know from hello if she's on her grind or not. So how do you what is the determination for you as to whether you proceed? Or, I'm just curious to know. Just curious to know. And Lanier also shares it's not just on the male's behalf. Women also struggle in that area as well. Some do. Some do. But like both of you were saying, Dr. Z and Roberto, talking about, our upbringing, talking about, learned behavior as well. Talking about, like, listen, I still have my mad money as well. My mother, my aunts always called it mad money when they said you have to have mad money in case you get mad, in case you whatever, or whatever. So that's what they always called it. So
What you supposed to do with the mad money?
you're supposed to have it at all times in case you get mad, so you can afford to find your way out of whatever situation you're in.
Okay.
So you were talking about always having money on you. That was always the explanation given to me when I was younger. My mother, only the women though. Now that I'm thinking about it, my mother, my grandmother, my aunts, all of them, only the women said that. You make sure you have your you got your mad money. You make sure, I don't care where I was going. You got your mad money.
And I
Always
think
mad money.
what you're talking about is conditioning. These learned behaviors that we learn in our childhood, right? Have your mad money. I even think about, my dad, he tells my son all the time, you always have money in your pocket. A man always keeps some money in his pocket. You don't go outside without money. Well, is ladies allowed to go outside without money? Right? That's all conditioning and messages that we learn, and those messages shape us into who we are as adults. And then we take those messages and then bring them into relationships, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't work. And so it's always about having those conversations of how did I come to know what I've come to know, right? How did I arrive to this place of thinking? And does this place of thinking fit the relationship that I'm in? Because you may have to tweak it, pivot, adjust, or look at, the differences in the relationships to see if the way that I see the world or how I handle finances matches what my partner needs or doesn't.
And I want to go back to something else that we talked about last week too. Prince posed the question to you and I about dating someone and knowing they're crazy or knowing whether or not they're crazy or what have you. And family, for those of you who were not with us last week, I shared that I was in a relationship, but I did not accept the crazy for what it was. I gave it an excuse. Oh, he's just doing that because whatever, whatever. He is. If he don't stop messing around, he's just doing that. I did not accept his crazy. He was showing it, but I did not accept it for what it was. I kept making an excuse for it. Oh, it's this, it's that, blah blah blah. So I'm shifting. I'm mixing apples with oranges right now because I want to make sure we cover, everything we touched on last week. But in saying that, we talk about having conversations with the person that we're dating. He and I had conversations. Now the finances weren't the thing, but it was the trust thing. He wasn't as trusting. And I'm thinking about this, what you just said. You really, really, really have to be open and honest with yourself as well as with your partner, but you have got to see and acknowledge what you're seeing. And I'm saying that, family, I'm telling y'all my own business because that was what happened to me. I did not see it and accept it for what it was. You have got to be honest with yourself about what is going on, about what you're seeing and what is being brought to you. Because the same thing, I don't remember who made the statement about their significant other saying, trust me, trust me, I got you. Let me take care of you. I think, what was it, Nigel? Maybe, used to being independent. That was me. I was always independent my entire, I still am, but that was it. I was so conditioned. I was so used to being independent. And he said that to me. He said, you let me take care of you. But little did I know he was a predator. But little did I know. But again, I'm saying this to say you just have to be honest with yourself about your situation, about what's going on and what's being shown to you. Because I may very well have seen that if I was being honest with what he was bringing to the table. And I
And Carol,
wasn't.
not only do you have to see it, but you have to say it, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
I see a behavior that doesn't make me feel comfortable, or something about
Mm-hmm.
this behavior I don't like. And so I need to bring that behavior in a conversation, right? I call it a check-in. I need to check in with my partner. Hey, I noticed that you reacted this way when I said this
Mm-hmm.
or I did this. Let's talk about that and really be listening to what your partner say as a response, because they're going to give you the
Mm-hmm.
answer. Is whether or not I want to hear the answer for what it is. We'll see it, but we won't say it. We have to see it, say it, and then talk about it.
How about that? How about that? Oh, yes, yes. So, going back to our socials for a moment, Annette Ford shares, that's your money to break if you need to, Berto. LOL. And not need anything from him. My mother taught me that as well. Always have your own, but at the same time, not disregarding your spouse. I know that. Yes, right. Henry Purifoy. Hi there, Henry. He shares, when people show you who they are, believe it. Yes, indeed. As does Pastor Daniel Black. He shares the same message. When a person shows you who they are, believe them. Yeah, I did not. I did not. I want to take a moment to go to our phone lines. One of our family members is calling in. Chris is online too. Hi there, Chris. Thank you for calling.
How you doing? Good evening.
Good evening.
I was listening last week when the gentleman was talking, and I was blown away like you were. But I didn't want to. I was sitting in the car. I was actually coming from work, like I am now, and I was listening. And I was like, I couldn't go in the house. I sat outside. I was listening. I wanted to, but so it was really like almost at the end. I'm trying to get home, but today I knew that you were coming back on, and I was riding again, getting off work, and today I had to stop. So I stopped because I'm a more seasoned woman, which older woman. So all the I could call it the trial and tribulation times of my life and relationships. Sometimes you see things, and it's there for you to see but you keep thinking it's going to get better. And time in my life, I was like, it's going to get better. He's going to this, he's going to that. But it always stayed the same. So I saw that pattern in myself. And I said, you know what? I'm blocking my own blessings. I can't meet the right one if I keep doing this. So I need to stop myself. And I had to say, you got to get you together, get your plan together, get the everything you want. So sometimes I think as women, we have this list, and the list is crazy. So anyway, long story short, I let the list go. The list had to go. And I said, the man that's going to be for me, he's going to come. And I have that blessing. So, I wasn't able to do a lot of stuff. I always worked, but, I had children, putting children through college. I was a single mom. I'm used to being independent, doing my own thing. So I had to ask myself, are you ready to put that independence aside so you can share a life, a decent one with a man, and let him even be the man in this relationship, because you're so used to being in charge all the time. So it's hard for me to step back, but I had to really put it in perspective, what kind of man that I want. And if you step up to be that type of man, am I going to be able to accept who he is without losing myself? So I met the man, and it was so weird because story is crazy, but my husband, I met him at a cookout, and a neighborhood community cookout we had, and he came and he told me, he said, he was in jail for a long time. And I was scared enough. I was like, okay. I wasn't acting desperate now. I was like, okay. But I never got his number. I want to talk to somebody else, and I wanted to get his number, and we wound up talking. And he said to me, these are the subjects that we had at the beginning, because I need to be clear about where I need in my life. And I think he needs to be clear what he needed in his life. And, I need to know certain things about him. And anyway, we wound up hooking up, and he told me, he said, I've been in jail a long time. We talked about my finances. He said, I don't have no credit, but I don't have no bad credit. I said, okay. I said, well, I know you can build some credit. So, we started talking, and he started building his credit and everything. And, some time later, we had moved in together, and he wanted to get married and everything. And he was just consistent about being a better man and the man that he said he was going to be when he got out. And I saw the consistency in him. I seen the drive in him. It was crazy. So, we got married, and one day I came home and he said, I got something to show you. And something that I always wanted, but I didn't have. And the other thing was that I was making more money than him. And he was making less money than me. Matter of fact, he was only working at Fresh Grocer. And not to say there's less, but I'm just saying. He was working at So every pay he got, he would save that pay and that savings, and he would not spend no more. And remind you, still paying the bills at the house, and I helped him, but I still had my own other house with my children, still trying to, but I, we doing all this. So, he said, I got something to show you. And I was like, what? And he showed me that he had got a loan to purchase a house. He said, and that's what he did. So now, moving forward, we married and everything. And he was, at one point, and I was like, oh, wow, I really don't want to work full time no more. I just want to take a little rest and then go back full time. And when I did, he was able to do that, give me allowance and everything. Now, remind you, I'm doing all right myself. So now things are changing. We got the house. We got the car. He even got me a car, paid that off in a year. Like, he was really doing this thing. And it changed. Not for the worse of him, but our finances changed. So now I'm working full time, and he's working full time. But we kind of over our budget now. And now I gotta put in now it's time for me. I got to help pay the bills and everything, and that's
Hmm.
what pay the bills. And now we're in the we're on the. He's been out of. He was in jail for 40 something years. He was by the time we were together for the second year, he had purchased his house. Paid off the first part of the year. He is just so awesome. Now
Mm.
he left Fresh Grocer and got a better job. He's like so
Wow.
awesome. And I tell people, I don't know how love's gonna come. And when it comes, you be prepared for it. Be prepared for this event that I asked for. And I didn't know how he was gonna come. I didn't know he was gonna be a man that was in jail for 40 something years. I didn't know this man was gonna come. Yeah, that's what he did. He came and changed my life.
Wow.
But now things is different because now I'm making more money than him. And guess what? He don't like it, and he wants to work a second, third job. No. Let me come in and help because you was in jail for 40 something years. You haven't even really seen life, and you worked hard in there. Besides all the other stuff that you was up against, I want you to still be the man in this family and run this thing like you're doing, because you're doing a good job. Because he taught me a lot about finances because I was going, I had a shopping problem. I was doing a whole lot of stuff I didn't do. But a lot of that stopped. So, now we in the second house. We have another car along with that. This man came in my life and changed it, but now I'm helping and I'm making more money than him, and now I'm paying more bills than him. But guess what? That doesn't make him less of a man.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me more of a woman, and I make sure I don't try to run over him and things like that because he's disrespectful. And we're together. And this is a man that uplifts me. This is a man who was in jail for 40 something years. And I have to respect that. I have to respect that. Because he brought that man in my life and he changed my life. Now I got good credit.
Oh, I love it.
Now I can say, okay, I'm ready to buy that house.
Right.
Cars. And and so we've been married for 5 years now.
Wow.
5 years. All that happened in 5 years.
Congratulations.
And we had some hard times, but I just want to say to people, I'll be 60 in January, and he's going to be 60 something. He's 7 years older than me, but he works so hard. He's been out for 7 years.
So what? Listen, they say what a difference a day makes. Okay. What Nancy Wilson sang it, just 24 little hours. You said in 5 years.
We've been married for 5 years, and he's been out 6 or 7 years, and he did our first purchase on our first house in. Then after that, first he bought me a little squatter. It was beautiful because I have a car, and then he turns around and bought me another car, a more up to date car, and now we have a more up to date car. But it's not the material things that make us happy. It's the we make us happy because we have so much in common. We like the same things. We think differently about some things, but it's nothing that we can't work out. Even we have different children, or something go on. We don't have to go to bed mad and wake up angry in the morning. Because we're living a wonderful life. And we get it from each other. Why not love on each other? Why? I told my girl, they said, well, how did you this, how you that? I said, because you painting what you want, and God got something else painted for you. So what you got to do is you got to thank God. And when your blessing comes, you got to recognize it because you don't know how it's going to come.
You sure don't. You don't.
And I never, in my biggest, longest dream ever imagined a man who did 40 something years in jail come out and change my life.
What an amazing love story. That is such a beautiful love story. Chris, let me just say thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing for sharing your story with us, for sharing the love that the two of you have with us. Listen, and for giving some of us hope, because what an amazing story that the two of you have. And you see you your children, they're looking at their mother be happy. I mean, the two of you were making like beautiful changes in each other's lives, and I can't imagine it's not spilling over into the lives of your children because they're recipient of all this happiness and this love. They're included in this love as well.
He has 3 wonderful grown children. He has 4 wonderful, 5 grandsons. We don't have no granddaughter yet. But we have 5 grandsons from 9 on down. So he got to be able to be in his house. And they love their papa. They love their papa. And the people love my children.
Such a great
As
story.
a man. My daughter died, and she allows that man. She said, "You're the only one to say you my dad." And it's just a blessing. And, for him to come in our lives and change it. I mean, he can't do no wrong to my children. I got to be, they keep their eye on me to make sure I'm doing right.
I love that. You hear me? And I love what you said too, Chris. You said our grandchildren. I love that. It always bothers me when people say my step, my this. You said our don't misunderstand. That's my own personal little thing. So if you say it, that's what you say, and that's what you say. But I'm saying I love that. I love that you said our grandchildren. I love that you said our kids. I love that. I love the love you just shared with us, family. Listen, it's time for us to take a break. Chris took us into a break, and I love it with all of that love. But know that the phone lines are still open, and feel free to continue to comment on our socials. When we come back, I'm going to go back to our socials and see what we're talking about, see what you're talking about, family. So stay with us because we will be right back.
Get ready for EcoFest, a celebration of environmental justice in our city. As WURD marks its 2 decades on the airwaves, we're not just reminiscing about the past, we're blazing a trail for the future. Held at One Art Community Center on October 9th, EcoFest will be centered around creating Black-green futures. Join us for captivating panel discussions, electrifying musical performances, educational workshops, and a diverse lineup of vendors offering everything you need for a sustainable lifestyle. Make sure you tune into EcoWord every Friday at 10 a.m. hosted by POC for all the exciting event details you won't want to miss. We can't wait to see everyone at One Art Community Center on October 9th for EcoFest. Brought to you by the Alliance for Watershed Education, Keystone First, the Energy Co-op, and the Fiddler Club. Stay tuned and stay inspired only on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. Prepare to party this weekend for a celebration of hip hop and the arts in Philadelphia. Join WURD Radio and Mural Arts at Love Park on Saturday, September 30th from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. for Mural Arts Fest for the love of hip hop. We're celebrating 50 years of hip hop alongside an all-star lineup of local performers and DJs, live conversations on the WURD Radio podcast stage, live mural making, a vendor marketplace, photo booths, art activities, and more. You can also stop by the WURD Radio table and join or renew your 4WURD membership. Don't let this free, family-friendly festival pass you by. It's the perfect way to celebrate hip-hop, 25 years of Mural Arts Philadelphia, 20 years of WURD Radio, and the fantastic communities we all serve. Join us at Love Park this Saturday from noon until 3.
Who are the region's leader in supplier diversity and economic development? Join WBEC East on Wednesday, October 10th at their Dessert and More and annual award celebration. Network with women business owners and entrepreneurs and the supplier diversity professionals making a difference in the tri-state area. Enjoy a full buffet of desserts from women-owned bakeries and celebrate the sweet success of women business owners. Wednesday evening, October 10th. Register online at www.wbeceast.com or call 215-790-9232.
Want to get out of just about anything and look like an earth-saving hero? Just use the environment excuse. High school reunion? Sorry, can't. Planetary obligations. Unfortunate bridesmaid's dress. Unfortunately, you promised the climate you'd buy more vintage. Chauffeuring teens? The earth really needs them to hoof it. The environment is always the best excuse. Find your out and opt in to cutting carbon. Just visit theenvironmentexcuse.org. Brought to you by WildAid.
You're listening to Love and Life with Carol Riddick on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Well, hey there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life with yours truly, Carol Riddick, right here on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. It's Thursdays with Dr. Z, and we're talking about some stuff, y'all. We're talking. Before the break, Chris shared with us one of the most beautiful love stories I think I've heard. Just amazing, just amazing. I want to thank you again, Chris, for your transparency and for sharing that with us. That was a welcome treat. As I said, we're going to go to our socials and see what you are talking about, family. Henry Purifoy, hey there, Henry. Henry is sharing. It doesn't come out in the wash. It will come out in the rinse. If it doesn't come out in the wash, it will come out in the rinse. I've heard that. He writes that that's what his grandmother used to say, Grandma Purifoy, who lived to be 102 years old. Well, she knew some things, didn't she? She definitely knew some things. Satonius Quinn shares, we as Black women oftentimes feel as though we can fix a man or fix the man we love, but his brokenness comes before you and has nothing to do with you. So you cannot fix him. Lanier Lewis shares, Setonius, very true. I am a believer of be healed before you come to me. And Frey, hey there, Frey. Frey shares, what a beautiful love story. What an absolute beautiful love story. She also shares, amen, amen. Faith is the evidence of things not seen but hoped for. The Lord is my hope. She's waiting patiently for her love. And Malcolm says, wow. Wow, to that old story, just wow. Harold is sharing, wait a minute, 40 something years in prison. Keep hope alive, single ladies. You know what, Harold? You know what, Harold? But yes, thank you for that. And then Setonius follows up by sharing, when two people are on the same path, there should be no problem stepping up to help each other out. That is what a true helpmate is all about. We tend to look past the good men based on what material things they have, but that's not all there is to a relationship. Does he feed your mind? Can you be vulnerable with him? Do you feel safe with him? These are the things we were not taught to look for. That's a good point. That's really a good point. Dr. Z, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, that's a great point. I think it's two things. From Chris on the call, I appreciate what she teaches us through her story. Don't judge a book by its cover, right? Get to know the person for who they are. Kind of going to Satana's point, which is a lot of times we expect them to come wrapped up and come very pretty and have all the things. And yeah, we should again have some expectations or things that we want in a relationship. We should have that, but get to know the person, because once I get to know the person, that person may be able to show up for me in a way that I didn't even expect them to show up as. And that's what I appreciate from Chris. And just going to some of the comments on the socials about being healed, I think doing self work is so pivotal, whether we're talking about finances, whether we're talking about, as we talk every week, mental health issues, trauma experiences. You have to know thyself first before I attach myself to someone else, because what will happen is whatever brokenness I carry as a single person, I'm going to carry that into my relationship. And unfortunately, what relationships do is now it puts a flashlight onto my brokenness and it peeks its ugly head more often than not. And I'm blaming my partner for something when really it may really be me. And so I think that is a great response in the comments and the socials. And how much am I self-aware? How healed am I from any previous experiences that may have hurt me in my past?
Roberto, would you like to add anything to that?
I think right in line with what Z is saying, just that self work. And my organization, Black Men Build, we do national men's circles. We also do men's circles, healing, social emotional healing work. So it's really, really big to, as people, especially as Black folks, right? Generational trauma. A lot of us have been raised by parents and grandparents who've never healed from the things that they've been through. So, and then we pass that on down to our children, and so it's important definitely to, at some point in your adulthood, stop and say, why do I think the way I think? Why do I do what I do? And is it healthy? Is it healthy? And this is is this what I want for my life? Or am I just living out of a coping mechanism or a reaction to a trauma or whatever it may have you? So I really agree that, especially, and I think someone had put it in a comment, right? Like when you go into a relationship, a person doesn't have to accept what you have to give. We have our own agency to say, this is what I deserve and this is what I want. Now I can give you the opportunity to work with you, but if you love somebody, you shouldn't want them to put up with your mess. And if you love yourself, you shouldn't want to put up with no one else's mess.
You want to work, right? And you should want to work on your yourself.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Did I interrupt you, Dr. Z?
No, I was saying yes. Don't project that out.
Right. Frey shares, amen, Dr. Z. But don't judge a container by its contents. She says, Monica Gray Harvey, welcome to the conversation. She shares, that was such a beautiful love story. I am so happy for them all. With God, all things are possible. Roberto, I want to take a moment because I am terribly sorry. I would be terribly remiss if I did not invite you to talk about Black Men Build. How could I? I was so busy concentrating on this
it's
topic,
fine.
on this, and then you said it, and I said, "Oh, yeah."
No.
Listen,
It's
how
cool.
could
It's
I not?
cool.
I'm sorry.
I appreciate. I'll just take a second to say that we're a national organization. We're in 8 cities and building. Every city we're in, we're organizing Black men to take an active role in our communities. To heal ourselves, to be better men, be better fathers, be better brothers, be better sons, and then working towards actual power and what that looks like to have the freedom to live healthy, full Black lives for ourselves and for our families. That's what we do. We are expanding. We have a national men's circle this Saturday. Brothers can jump on. I can put that link out.
Please share that with us in the chat. Please share that with
Sure.
family members. So you said in 8 cities. This is so you're there are when you say that you're in 8 cities. There's a branch.
It's a chapter, a hub, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So we're growing. So basically, when we come into a city, it's basically starting a men's circle, and then joining brothers who want to just take responsible, active roles in helping to free our communities. And so we know that the government is only going to do what's profitable or what's expedient for government, and we know that in every city in this country there is a enclave of Black folks who are working class or poor, and so we believe we have to come up with our own solutions.
So 2 questions. In what 8 cities are the chapters, and do the men have to live in those particular cities to join the chapters?
So to join Black Men Build, you don't have to live in any particular city. We're base building across the country. But 8 cities. We're in Miami, we're in St. Louis, we're in Detroit, we're in Atlanta, New York, LA, Milwaukee, and Columbus, Ohio. And right now we have started to build and doing men's circles in Raleigh, Durham, Baltimore, Camden, New Jersey, and then we're hoping to organize soon in Philadelphia. So yeah.
And the event. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
The event you mentioned that you all are hosting or facilitating this coming Saturday. That's the 30th.
The 30th at noon.
Is that noon?
yeah, kind of conflicts with the mirror because I was thinking,
It
oh,
sure
that's
does. I said, wait a
yeah,
minute. I was gonna say, wait, well, but
right. But
well, let me ask you this. Oh, go
oh,
ahead.
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
No, I
So
was just
the
going to say,
event,
I'm
you go ahead.
sorry. I
Go
was
ahead.
going to say that we have a men's circle that's going to be at noon this Saturday, and it's probably going to be for about an hour and 15 minutes. So I was looking at the Mirror Arts Festival like, oh, that's something I want to go to, and I was like, you know what? After the circle, I'm going to head on down there. So yeah,
Okay. So will it be virtual as well, or
yes,
is
it's
it? It
virtual.
is
It
virtual.
is virtual. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then you know
Mhm.
what? Then that might not pose a problem for some of our family members because they could be in transit and
Right, right,
they
right,
can,
right.
okay. So, is there a website that our men, our family members who are males, or even some women might
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
share with
yeah.
their men? Come
Yes,
on,
that'd be great.
Roberto. Come
That'd be
on, Roberto.
great.
What?
So the website, and I think I know we had some challenges with it, but the website is www.blackmen.build. That's the website, but I know it was doing something weird yesterday. So if you go to it and it's not, just give it a little, come back in a day. Um,
So that's Black Men Build. Is it Black Men Build? Black Men dot build. So
yes,
build is the extension, not an
yes,
org or a net or a com.
yep,
It's
yep.
dot build.
Blackmen.build.
Okay.
Yep. Um,
Okay.
and I will share the link for the men's circle. Um, and yeah, and if any brothers want to join, you're welcome to. It's a safe space for men to be men. We promote healthy masculinity. We promote healing. We do healing work, social emotional health. Really, just to take accountability for your own mental and emotional and how you show up in the world. Right.
Mm, I appreciate that. How long has Black Men Build been in existence?
This is our third year. This is this is
Nice.
this is this is our third year. Just following the legacy of other, radical and
Okay.
organizations that really believe in freedom for Black people, and not necessarily asking anybody for it, but doing the things that we need to do as
Sure.
a people to organize ourselves and free ourselves.
One of our family members, hey Cheryl, hey there. Cheryl Mobley Stimson is asking, is the event virtual for men only? What is the age group? And is there a youth group as well?
Thank you so much for that question. The group is for young men and men, so we probably say 18 and up. We do mentorship work, and a lot of the work we do in the cities that we're in as an extension.
Okay.
So we definitely engage youth, but it's for men to really be men and be the best, highest versions of yourself. So
Mhm.
that's kind of what the focus is.
Okay, and how often do you all meet? Or do the chapters all meet together? Do they meet individually, or how does that work?
So we have a mass call once a month on Zoom. We have online. We have a mass call with usually a few hundred people on a call
Oh, nice.
once a month. Of course, they have chapter meetings in the cities that they're in and decide what local community events that they want to help with. It's really about survival programs, right? Like,
Mhm.
if a bunch of brothers in, I don't know, Little Rock, Arkansas get together and follow the kind of like the precedent of Black Men Build, then they would have a men's circle, and then they would see what issues are confronting the Black community where they live that they want to help do something about. So they would come together and support one another. And is it gun violence? Is it the unhoused? Is it, and then with the support of our national organization, develop a campaign and a program and a platform to affect change in that city.
That all sounds amazing. It sounds awesome. I truly do applaud you all for your efforts. I was when you said Ohio, I was thinking because I was just made aware today of the number of children that have gone missing in Ohio.
Mm.
That I was sharing. I don't. You may not have caught that earlier. I was sharing that. Excuse me. All of the news outlets reported today, and I picked up this story from the New York Times that there are over 1,000 children that have gone missing in Ohio, that were reported missing in Ohio this year, and more than 45 in the Cleveland, Akron area in this month alone. They're saying that the numbers of missing children have grown exponentially. So, when you said that, Ohio, I'm sure that's a topic of one of their conversations, because who knew? Who knew?
Yeah, I didn't know.
Well, and that was another thing too, because the news outlets were saying it wasn't being reported, and now it's just now being reported about all of the children that have been reported missing. And they were showing pictures of them. I mean, just children from all different backgrounds and walks of life, and since the beginning of the year, and they don't know. They're saying they don't know why or why these children have gone missing. But family, y'all know. For those of you who do know, I'm all over the place. For those of you who did not know, you now know. I am all over the place. I like to talk about everything as it hits my dome. But what we're going to do right now is take just a short break, and we're going to come back and continue the conversation. So stay with us, because we'll be right back.
Lift up your voice, let it be heard. There is power in the word radio.
Fatima Ali, a renowned journalist, was a WURD radio legend. This West Mount Airy native is a graduate of Germantown Friends School and of Wesleyan University with a degree in English and history. Her career officially began in 1981, and through the years, she's worked for organizations like the Philadelphia Daily News, KYW News Radio, WDAS, Power 99, WBLS, to name a few, and finally landing at WURD Radio as the host of The Real Deal with Fatima Ali, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, Monday through Fridays. Sarah Lomax, president and CEO of WURD Radio, summed up Fatima Ali's legacy with this quote: "She was an advocate of prisoners and incarcerated men and women, and she just spoke truth to power, not being intimidated and not backing down from anyone." No wonder Fatima Ali was a beloved member of the WURD family.
Repairing Philadelphia's broken educational system topped the agenda when Philadelphia Mayor Michael Nutter first took office in 2008. With a 50% high school dropout rate and the city's soaring crime statistics hovering, Mayor Nutter saw a direct correlation between the two. With an eye on education, I'm Fatima Ali.
It is an honor to salute WURD radio legend Fatima Ali. This WURD 20th anniversary vignette was brought to you by Mainline Health, the Pennsylvania Lottery, Keystone First, and United Healthcare.
Listen to Grandmama and take this special note. One step is registration, and step 2 is your vote, and you must. Calling all citizens, don't you delay. It's time to do the 2-step and do it right away. Oh, listen to Grandmama and take the special note. Step 1 is registration. Step 2, go out and vote. We must. Oh, yes, we must. Yeah, we must. Come on, everybody. We must.
Get a lot of advice about self-care these days, but one of the most important self-care steps we can take is making sure we're financially secure later in life. For small steps you can take to save for retirement, visit WeSaySaveIt.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Talking to your kids about the dangers of vaping can be hard. Getting them to listen to hot gossip is easy. So here's some drama you could share with your kid. Dude, did you hear about Cassie and Jake? No, but did you hear that vaping can cause irreversible lung damage and nicotine affects brain development? Nuh-uh. You don't need to gossip if you want to have an open conversation about vaping. So if you want to get tips on when and how to talk to your kids, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
What is love?
You're listening to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
I think I know what love
Hey there, family. Hey there. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life with yours truly, Carol Riddick, right here on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online. Ooh, at wordradio.com. We've been talking tonight, family. I want to first just say thank you. I always say thank you when I wrap up the show, but I'm going to do it twice, okay? Because I just so appreciate everybody's transparency and everybody just sharing. I always say it. This is the place to do so. So I appreciate you obliging. And Roberto has shared the link for the men's circle. You all should see that on our socials. Yes, 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 yes. Cheryl Hicks Lucas shares Roberto. Thank you for helping our beautiful men. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Rick is joining us. Hey there, Just Rick, Just Rick. He's joining us as well. Always so happy to have you here. So I'm going to ask both you, Dr. Z
Mhm.
and Roberto, if you will leave us with some food for thought tonight.
Berto, you take the lead.
Food for thought. What I would say to leave us, man. First, I want to echo what a lot of people have said. That was a beautiful, beautiful love story that the sister shared, and I love the fact that it was our type of love story. You know, we're still healing from a
Mhm.
lot of things that our ancestors have gone through. We're still healing as a people. We have to give each other grace. We have to give ourselves grace. So I love that she shared that and gave inspiration and hope to a lot of us. So I thank you so much for that offering. And with this conversation, I appreciate my sister bringing me in. And thank you, Miss Riddick, to allow me to share space with you. And I would just offer all of us just to remember that anybody we engage with, give them some grace, because
Mhm.
it was a time where we didn't know what we know. It was a time where we weren't where we are now.
Mhm.
And so it doesn't mean you have to be in a relationship with them, but give them some grace. And then I would also say, know what you want in a relationship, right? A lot of times people are general, right? I want a good man. I want a good woman. But what does that mean? Because
Mm.
if I ask 10 different people, that I would probably get 10 different answers. Maybe some variations of the same answer, but a lot of things would be different. So what do you want? I think that's one thing that she kind of sourced out and what she shared in her story. I had to really sit back and look at what am I asking for, and then what about myself? And that'll be my last comment. Control your controllables, right? So before you engage with someone else, before you go into a relationship, you can control what you bring to the table. You can work on your own stuff. You can, be on sound footing financially.
That's a T-shirt. Control your
Yeah, it
control.
is.
I'm like, wait, Dr. Z.
And I would just kind of piggyback off of that and then just add something. First, in order for me to control my controllables, I have to do my self work. I have to know
Mm-hmm.
myself, right? And before I can go and say what I want out of a partner, I have to know what I want out of myself, and I have to know what I bring to the table so that I can be self-aware. Because I can go into it and say, I expect my partner to have this level of finance, but what does that mean for your relationship? What does that mean for you? And so know
Mhm.
who you are and be open. As I always say every week, you have to have the hard conversations. You have to be okay with talking about the things that you see. If you see it, say it, talk about it.
Mhm.
Because if you can't talk about it, that's a red flag. And that is probably a sign that something is not right in this dynamic. So see it, say it, know yourself. And as Roberto said, control your controllables is what I would end with as it relates to this segment. And this is such a necessary conversation. I'm so glad we had it, Carol. Even though Prince didn't call in today, Prince, wherever you are, we appreciate it because people want to have these real conversations. And so I appreciate us pivoting to do this today.
Oh my goodness. You know what? I can't. My takeaway today is control your controllables. I think I had to write that down. I did. I had to write that down. Dr. Z always talks about accountability, and I get that reminder every single week, which I appreciate. I need to check me. I definitely need to check me every now and again. So I so appreciate the reminder from Dr. Z. So now I'm going to add that to Dr. Z's reminders. Control my controllables. I'm going to add that. And my cousin is joining the conversation. June, hey there, June Nixon, and I know Big Al is joining the conversation as well. Albert Nixon is as well. Crystal is sharing. Crystal Rucker. Oh, Crystal, taking it easy, Rucker. She shares. Thank you so much for giving me the space to share about my love story on Word. Grateful. Grateful. Oh, thank you so much, Crystal. And Malcolm shares, yeah, Prince was missing in action. He pulled the pin on that grenade and left. Yes, he did. Yes, he did, Malcolm. Yes, he did. Ron will
That's
get him
funny.
though. Ron will get him. Ron will talk to him for us. He will. I just want to say thank you so much to you, Dr. Z, as always, and for bringing a guest with you this evening. Thank you, Roberto, for obliging and for coming.
Thank you.
And for contributing. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Dr. Z, God willing, we will see you next week.
See you next week.
See you next week. And Roberto, we hope you will come to visit with us again too.
I appreciate it being here. Thank you so much. I'm a Word member. I listen to as many shows as I can. I appreciate the station so much. So it's cool. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We truly do appreciate you. All right, family. Family, you know what time it is. You know what we're going to do right now. You know what we are going to do right now. We're going to take a deep breath first. God, from whom all blessings flow. I will continue to support love and life. Just extending my gratitude to all of our callers, to those who contributed on our socials as well. Thank you to our guests, as always, Dr. Z, and to the friend that she brought with her, Roberto. Just thanking them for their time, their energy, their space, their knowledge, their attention, just all of that. To the entire Word family. Thank you, especially to Niall Jackson, Nick Steptoe. Look at me, Nip. You hear me, Nick? To Nick Steptoe for all that you do. Family, just remember, we're all in this together. So be good to you, but please be good to those around you. Have a great night. Have a great rest of your night. And be sure to join me Monday through Thursday, 7 till 9 p.m. Eastern Time for another edition of Love and Life right here on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. I love you, but God loves you so much more. Have a good night, family.